Okay, if you have kids, Life 360, security cameras, whatever you need, combing through the social media accounts of the teachers that are at your kid's school. All of these things are critical steps that unfortunately parents have to take now. Things are changing out there. Pedophiles are becoming more brazen. Pedophilia is something we're hearing about more often. Pedophilia is being normalized by people on the left. We've got to watch out for our kids. We have to watch out for our families, and we have to be vigilant. This is what we're talking about today. I'm going to give you several examples of this. Let's get into it. I'm Jared, and this is Continue Freedom. And welcome back to Continue Freedom. If this is your first time here, welcome. Be sure to like, subscribe, leave comments below. We're on X, Locals, Rumble, and YouTube. You can also go to continuefreedom.com and sign up for my mailing list. Let's go ahead and get into it. I'm doing my second video today, and it is exhausting to do 2 videos in one day. It really is. It takes a lot of research. It takes a lot of prep. And for me, I work multiple jobs. I have a lot of things going on during the week, and I'm trying to do this podcast because ultimately this podcast is my long-term plan. But last night was date night with my wife, and there was no way I was going to miss date night. Absolutely no way. So I have zero regrets. Let me just put it that way. But it means that I'm going to be really, really tired today doing 2 videos. And my wife is everything. My family is everything to me. And family should be everything to all of us. If we have a family, and if you don't have a family, I hope that you are blessed with a family someday. But we have to be vigilant in this day and age. We have to be vigilant, especially those of you with kids, because I've seen an uptick in the news about pedophilia. Generally, it's coming from right-wing outlets because the left is trying to normalize pedophilia. They're changing the term, so a pedophile is too stigmatizing. They call them minor attracted persons. And in fact, there was a video not too long ago, this was over the past week, and I should have brought it up, but I didn't, where there's a lady it looked like a city council meeting or something to that effect. Maybe it was a school board meeting. And they were talking about facilitating child sex dolls to adults. And that there was some research that said that prevented them from acting on actual children. This is normalizing a mental health issue. This is normalizing a evil activity for adults. And in this instance, this is a leftist Utah art teacher. He was charged with sexual abuse of a 12-year-old female student. So on Friday, Grand County School District, Utah, art teacher Robert Bruce Hucko, 70, was formally charged with the second-degree felony of sexual assault for allegedly inappropriately touching a 12-year-old girl in August. He frequently made left-wing posts online. Court documents obtained by KSL state that on August 1st, 2023, Hucko entered the 12-year-old's home while her parents were not present and remained there. Hucko showed the children an art book, and the victim then went to show Hucko the family art room. The documents noted, while in the hallway, Hucko smacked the victim's butt. During the police interview in August, the young girl revealed that Hucko had made her uncomfortable by rubbing her shoulders as she was working on a project while at school. This is a serious sexual felony against a child. The fact that the suspect entered and remained in a home with no parents present expresses a certain aspect of daring on his part. The subject is also a teacher with access and trust to a multitude of children in the community. So if you have kids, obviously things like Life 360, whatever app you want to use or whatever technology you want to use, keep track of your kids, I would highly recommend it. Similarly, there are video cameras out there that you can access. Ring cameras are one, and people might have issues with Ring or with Amazon or whoever and how they handle that information. Totally understand that, but having access to some security systems, some security cameras that can notify you when someone arrives at your home while you are away and your kids are home alone something like that would be beneficial. And this guy, for teachers, I would say that combing through the social media accounts of every teacher, not just the teacher that your kids' teachers, But every teacher, when you're talking about PE teachers, or you're talking about driver's ed teacher, which is usually the PE teacher, or you're talking about, it doesn't matter. Combing through their social media to see what type of stuff they are posting would be would be advisable for anyone with children in this day and age. And I say that because this guy's social media was pretty telling. I mean, he had some pretty vile stuff out here on social media. And we can blame this on a lot of things. I say the normalization of pedophilia, which is by them calling them minor attracted persons, is just normalizing evil behavior. But I think that the separation, and I mentioned this in my last video, but our separation from God and us relaxing our morals, deviating from Judeo-Christian principles, being more socially liberal, the increase in the hookup culture, all of these things were like the normalization of premarital sex and the normalization of sexualizing females and all that kind of stuff. This has been a slow moving, we saw it coming, but it was a slow moving train. And now that it's arrived, it's very hard to stop this sort of stuff, but we have to. We have to for the good of our children, for the future of our children, but really for grandchildren, for great-grandchildren. What is the world going to look like then if we continue on this path? I will be perfectly honest, it is not going to look good if there is one. A lot of people say the Lord's going to come back before then. I don't know. Who knows? But anyway, this guy's social media account was fairly telling. And parents should have, I can't say that it's necessarily the parents' fault. The parents, if they knew the teacher was there, which I don't know, it doesn't say that they did. But if the parents knew the guy was there, that should be strange that a school teacher would want to show up at their house when their child was, when they were away and their child was alone. That in and of itself is strange behavior. And not knowing that he was there, that I do put at the feet of the parents, because there are ways to know. We have to take advantage of that. And I don't know why, we're hearing more about it. It could just be that it's getting more clicks, but it's most definitely making waves in the news. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is along those same lines. We were talking about the sexualization of women. Well, and the normalization of pedophilia. This doesn't help. Nebraska all-ages drag show to feature a 6-year-old drag queen, Lulu Lovely Twirls, at Omaha Coffee Shop. The drag show will occur on Sunday, March 10th at Urban Abbey Coffee Shop in Omaha. An all-ages LGBTQ drag show is being promoted by Heartland Pride in Omaha, Nebraska. The group is using a young child dressed in drag to promote the show, which will occur on Sunday, March 10th, at Urban Alley Coffee Shop in Omaha. The child is reportedly a 6-year-old drag performer known as Lulu Lovely Twirls. Twirls will be performing at the event, the group said. And again, this is PM, by the way, is post-millennial. If you don't know, it's unbelievably good outlet. This stuff is showing up. Let me go ahead and show you the article for this. This is how they're advertising this. They're advertising this as some innocent thing. But I'm sorry, this is literally sexualizing a child. And parents, this is child abuse. Let's just be honest what this is. This is child abuse. Child abuse. This is emotional abuse. There's psychological abuse. I don't know where this delves into physical abuse, but you are putting a child dressed in drag, dancing in front of adults. Drag is nothing but a sexual thing. Let's be perfectly honest about what this is. This is sexualizing a child. People who do that, I'm sorry, people who do that should be arrested. Period. Their child unfortunately should have to go into the foster system, because a parent that was willing to do that does not have the mental capacity to care for another human being. That's one of the most depraved things I've ever seen. Along with the pedophilia. I mean, look at this. The LGBTQ pride group added photos of its performers in this post. This is what they're promoting, along with a 6-year-old child. So that doesn't necessarily have to do with you all, but this has to do with the culture that's being created around children and the sexualization of children. We have to understand that the people that are in our educational institutions, they think that this is okay. They think that this is not just okay, this is good, and this should be done. That is what we are up against. This is a level of evil that we are not familiar with. This is a level of evil that we have to be cognizant of. This is a level of evil that we have to protect against. And this requires something on our part. It requires diligence, vigilance, awareness, and I'll be honest, I hate to say it, but a little bit of paranoia. I mean, that is baffling. Baffling. So if you have kids, if you're on the left and you have kids, or well, let me rephrase. If you have kids, then they're going to try to abuse them. If you're having kids, they're going to try to kill them. This is CVS and Walgreens to sell abortion pills in their stores in 6 Democrat states. This one is, oops, I just lost the page. Oh, here it is. So CVS and Walgreens will be selling the drug in Democrat states across the U.S., including New York, California, Massachusetts, Illinois, Pennsylvania, and Rhode Island. So 2 major pharmacy chains will be stocking their shelves with the abortion pill mifepristone, which will allow women to terminate their pregnancies without having to go to medical clinics. So this is the way that they are bypassing the overturning of Roe v. Wade. And currently, there's a stay on it, is my understanding right now. But at one point, after Roe v. Wade was overturned, they were allowing pharmacies, they were allowing physicians to just mail out this drug anywhere across the country. So even though you couldn't go into an abortion clinic, you could still get the abortion pills delivered to you via the mail. And I think that this has stopped because this is going to the Supreme Court. Thank the Lord, this is going to the Supreme Court. But this case in particular is, I'm going to read this to you. So U.S. Supreme Court is to decide whether to restrict abortion drug next year. This is as of December of last year. So mifepristone has been used to terminate pregnancies after FDA approval 20 years ago. A federal judge in Amarillo attempted to ban it, suspending its regulatory approval. This is the first time the High Court will decide an abortion case since its overturn of Roe v. Wade in 2022. So basically, this drug, I won't get into what it does internally, but it has a lot of side effects. And when the drug was approved, they didn't take those side effects into account. They didn't take into account a lot of the potential harms and hazards with that drug when they approved it. So this has been stopped. And the Alliance for Hippocratic Medicine is one of the organizations that is trying to stop it and that is fighting this fight. Thank God for people that are doing that. And so mifepristone right now, in the interim, inside of the states, they apparently can still send it out. So these 5 states, again, I'm going to read those to you. They are New York, California, Massachusetts, Illinois, Pennsylvania, and Rhode Island. You need to write your legislators. You need to write your state legislators and give them an earful. Let them know that you aren't okay with this, that mifepristone can be dangerous, that mifepristone at the end of the day is still killing a child, period. Any abortion from the moment of conception is killing a child. So the level of demand that these pharmacies will encounter for the medication, which are still also available at doctors' offices and via mail-in states that do not penalize abortion, is unknown. CVS states that its pharmacies in roughly half the United States where abortion is prohibited or restricted will not be offering the pills. So some of the states have taken steps to prevent this drug from going into the population. But some states have just, they say, well, we're going to let you kill a child no matter what. You couple that with, they don't want you to have kids, but if you have kids, they're going to try to mentally abuse them and physically abuse them and sexually abuse them. All this and they'll stand up and say the next day, oh, this is all about our children. They're the future of our country. But we're perfectly willing to kill them, mutilate their genitals, give them cancer-causing drugs, or emotionally abuse them. Now, if you catch them red-handed, Then Maine, apparently, the Maine State Police they're under fire for disregarding video confession of a man soliciting minors for sex. If y'all don't know who Alex Rosen is, Alex Rosen he's a guy who runs is basically makes videos of him catching child predators. And he started this years ago. He looks like he's 40 years old, even though he's in his 20s. It's pretty wild. But he's found hundreds and hundreds of them over the years, something to the tune of 500 or 600, I believe, which is impressive in and of itself. But Alex Rosen made a post, and he said, "This is the video of the child predator we confronted that Maine State Police didn't want to see. Three hours of confession on camera from his attraction to infants to child porn and more. But that's no big deal to Maine police, apparently." Now, the Maine State Police and the Computer Crimes Unit Task Force is aware of several groups nationwide. This is their statement. That conduct their own private investigations into child exploitation. It is our understanding and experience that the tactics that are employed by these groups are at best questionable and at worst coercive, because you can't coerce someone into that type of behavior. But this guy, he has gotten hundreds and hundreds of them convicted. He knows what he is doing. He is doing a good job. He is capturing or helping to capture loads of child predators. And I think so kudos to him for doing it. But I think the most important thing here is that the frequency with which this is happening is astronomical, and it is shocking how many people are involved in child pornography, how many people are involved in child abuse. It's frightening. It's frightening, and it should frighten all of us that with kids, everyone with kids, you should be worried about this. This is why you have to know where your kids are at all times in this day and age. Now, I grew up in a time where it was, hey, come back when the lights are off. But that sort of thing wasn't really a big deal. I wouldn't say it's not a big deal, which is we didn't see it. At least I never saw it. And we felt relatively safe in our communities because I think that a lot of those people were hiding in the shadows. So they probably still existed, but they were hiding in the shadows and we never saw them. As we start to change the terminology, as our society becomes more open about this, when you have these liberal politicians that are saying we should, lower the stigma or stop the stigma around people that are attracted to children, then they are only going to become more brazen. And people like Alex Rosen are becoming more and more necessary. And for whatever reason, the state police would not accept it. I believe they eventually did. But at the end of the day, this guy confessed to it, and they were like, no, we don't want to see the video. We don't want to see the video, which is shocking. It is absolutely, absolutely shocking. Now, the last thing that we're going to talk about is, okay, so we talk about the dangers, and I told you this wasn't going to be a lighthearted episode, and I'm sorry for that. But we have people from within, so the teachers and these folks that are, a potential risk to our children. But we also have new risks that we are bringing in. New risks that we are allowing to come from across the border. So New York Post headline slammed for saying that the illegal murder suspect panicked when Laken Riley fought back. So it's not even the end of February, and I think we've got a contender for the worst headline of the year is how this read. So the New York Post published an article claiming that the illegal immigrant charged with murder over the death of Laken Riley, a nursing student at Georgia's Augusta University, allegedly killed Riley because he panicked when the victim fought back. The outlet is being slammed for attempting to humanize illegal immigrant murder suspect Jose Antonio Ibarra, with some describing the piece as the worst headline of the year. Jose Antonio Ibarra, 26, has been arrested and charged for the killing of Laken Riley, 22, had been found dead in a wooded area at the University of Georgia of Athens campus on Thursday. Riley was out for a jog on UGA's campus at the time she was attacked and allegedly killed by Ibarra, according to authorities. Ibarra was arrested and taken into custody on Saturday. Authorities were revealed that Ibarra is an illegal immigrant from Venezuela who entered the U.S. through El Paso, Texas in September. Ibarra reportedly disfigured Riley's skull. Police said that they found evidence consistent with blunt force trauma to the head. Now we're importing evil. We're importing criminals. We're importing murderers. Now, I've talked about the southern border ad nauseum, and I'm going to continue to talk about the southern border because we aren't putting these people through any type of a vetting process. These people are unknown to us. In some cases, their origins are unknown. They are ditching their IDs so that we can't find out who they are before they come across the southern border. They are claiming asylum under circumstances that don't warrant asylum. And you may say that this is the widows and the orphans. This is not widows and orphans. On this very channel, I have shown you videos of tens of thousands of them, military-age males, tens of thousands of military-age males coming across the southern border. I showed video of children who had clearly been drugged at the southern border. And we are bringing across murderers. We are bringing across cartel members. We are importing evil into our country. That is not to say that everyone is evil. That is to say that we owe it to the American people to know who is coming in. Use the legal immigration system. It's there for a reason. But no. The votes are far more important than the security of the American citizens. Laken Riley's life is just, it's a throwaway, right? It's worth it in the long run to be able to have Democrats in power for the long term. And I'm not being hyperbolic, by the way. I'm being serious about that. Oh, it's such a shame. And I've seen report after report after report of illegal immigrants coming into this country, DUIs, murder, assaults, sexual assault, rape. We don't know who these people are. You are not getting the best and brightest when you just open the doors to lottie-dottie everybody. We have to practice some level of discretion for the good of the American citizens, who are, by the way, paying for them. We are paying for their hotel rooms, their food, their education, their debit cards with thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on them. We have American families who are living paycheck to paycheck, and sometimes not even paycheck to paycheck. They can't afford to put food on their tables. And yet we're giving free lodging, education, healthcare, all this stuff. We'll fit the bill for it. We, the taxpayers, fit the bill for people who simply walked across the border and are taking advantage of our system. So we are less safe. We are deeper in debt. There is no benefit to us. There is no benefit to we the people. Only to those who want to use these people to get elected. So I say all that to say the environment in America is not getting better at this point in time. The environment in America is getting worse. There are more dangers out there for people with kids. There are more dangers out there for families. There's more dangers in the cities. If you live in one of these cities and I just tell you to move, but I know that's not possible for some people. You've got a job, you've got a family, you've got kids. Then you better start lobbying for Second Amendment rights if you're in Chicago or you're in New York or you're in San Francisco or you're in any of these places where you can't defend yourself. And you better gear yourself up so that you can. Because at the end of the day, as the adults, it is your job to protect your family. It is your job to protect your kids. It is your job to be vigilant and to look out for those that are for whom you are responsible. I know I'm going to do the same. I'm going to be as vigilant as I can. I worry about my wife all the time. I worry about my nieces all the time. And my nephew. Okay. Thank you all so much for watching. Sorry it wasn't a bit more lighthearted, but I think, there's times where we just have to say, look, let's face the facts. It ain't a pretty world out there right now. There are ways that let me rephrase. There are things out there that are worth celebrating. The things out there that are worth celebrating is that, we still have a constitution. We can still have a family. We can have our faith. Although if you watch my last video, that's the next thing that's going to be under fire. But I would just ask people, put your faith in God, not in man. We have to still, even though that it's frightening out there, we have to keep a positive mindset as often as we can. When I stop these podcasts, I go back and I relax and I say, you know what? I informed the people of the things that they needed to hear. But at the end of the day, I'm going to leave this and go back to my job of protecting my family, protecting those that I love, and praying to God that things can get better in this country, that he sends us the right people to fix the United States of America, to put us back to the great nation that we once were. And with that, I will leave you this evening. Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, leave comments below. We're on X, Locals, Rumble, and YouTube, and I'll see you in the next video.